and it was 8 and under. So I was at the younger age, and I came in and I took right after her. It was like a fish in the water, and started breaking all of the records at 6 years old. And it was really important for me because my mom was so proud of me. She was there right with me. She had all of the best times in backstroke, and that ended up being my stroke as well, which is crazy. So I started, like, people would come just to watch me swim. I mean, as I got older as well, I had all the records. I ended up getting a time that qualified for the Olympics. So, and I was like really important because it started right when I was 6 years old, and my mom got me involved. So that was a really special moment for me.
So where did you grow up? What was that town?
So I grew up in a small beach town in Massachusetts called Situate. It was the best place that you could possibly grow up. Super family oriented. We would go to the beach every single day. We grew up camping in the summer, going down to Cape Cod. I mean, there's no other place that I would have loved to grow up in the entire world.
What a blessing having a mother who understood the importance of goals from a young age, right? And being in a place of family values. What would you say is the core value that she instilled in you at that age that you understand now today from that time? At
that age, I mean, she instilled so many things in me. I think one specifically was just do the best that you can possibly do. It was never like, oh my God, you have to win. If I didn't get first place, she would still wear that ribbon, which was red, and I didn't want that. I only wanted the blue, the first place, because at that age, you know, you're competitive. But my mom was always there for me and told me, you know, you just have to do the best that you can do. And no matter what, she was there for me every practice, she was always the mom driving me and all of my friends to practice, picking us up with pizzas, Taco Bell, whatever, because you burn so many calories when you're swimming. And like, I mean, she was like the mom that everyone wanted to have. And I mean, she was there for me like no other parent was.
Can you talk a little bit about the journey from being in competition at that young age and what the evolution of that was to where you were able to qualify for the Olympics?
I mean, I think starting at such a young age, obviously I knew that I was talented. I took after her. I started breaking her records, so I knew that I had a talent for this. And you know, she pushed me, but just enough so that I still wanted to do it and still wanted to be involved in it. And I mean, down the road, I mean, that's what made me qualify.
So you're making a very valuable point there. And people I see struggle with this. How do you know the point which is the edge where one can push oneself to break through but not become broken?
I think that's like a really tricky place, and a lot of people struggle with that. And for me, I had my family behind me and the support and knowing that if I didn't win or if I didn't make it, it was okay. And I think a lot of people, especially these days, put so much pressure, especially with social media out there and so many things, that if you're not the best or if you're not the prettiest, the fastest, the smartest, or whatever it is, that you didn't succeed. But everyone succeeds in their own way. And, you know, everyone's way is different. And failures lead you to something different, a different path.
Is there a time in your life, a memorable failure that has been a silver lining in your life today?
I think for me, when I was swimming, I had to make a decision when I obviously was doing really well, and it was morning and night practices, and I qualified for the Olympics, but it was a lot on me, and there was like other passions. I was starting to get into modeling, so I had a decision to make, and I was given the opportunity to go to Paris and model and do runway, but I would have to give up swimming. And that was a really big struggle for me, because for my mom, it was really important for me to do swimming because that was such a huge part of who she was, and I became a swimmer as well and took after her. But modeling was something that I was passionate about at the time. So that was really difficult for me to choose between the two because I felt like I was disappointing somebody.
How did you work through that? How did you communicate with each other?
I sat down, I talked with my mom, and of course she said whatever makes you happy, but I knew in the back of her head that it was a disappointment a little bit to see me quit something that I was so talented at. But I ended up making the decision that was best for me. I went to Paris, I modeled, I was given opportunities. I'm in LA
Talk to me a bit about Paris and who were you modeling? Were you doing runway?
I was doing runway in Paris, and then I've done runway for BB, Betsy Johnson, all of these crazy fun designers. That was really special for me, and that made me meet different people that I was given the opportunity to start investing, and that became a part of my next chapter. So every decision that I made, and even though at the time, you know, you feel like a little bit of a failure when you quit something and move on to the next chapter, it brings you to a new opportunity.
What was the best thing at that point in your life? So what age were you doing the modeling in Paris?
I started modeling when I was 12 years old. I was discovered at the Four Seasons in Boston, just having brunch with my family. And then at 16, I went to Paris and started modeling. And my parents came with me, because when you're 16, you need a parent.
Very wise.
They were with me, they've been with me through every step of the way. My mom and my dad are both amazing.
What's your mom's name?
Stephanie.
And your dad's name?
Tom.
And talk to me just a little bit about your father.
My father is, it was the perfect balance, having a mom that was my best friend, would do anything for me, and then my dad, who was definitely strict, but he was so hands-on with everything as well. Swimming wasn't as much his thing, that was more my mom's, but my dad wanted to make sure that I was athletic with everything I did. He would make me go fishing, he would make me put the fish on the hook, everything. So, it was really important for him to make sure I knew all the life lessons in life. And at the time, you know, when you're young, you don't want to put a worm on a hook. You don't want to I have to go take out the trash or go to the dump or do these things. And looking back, those things were so important to who I am today as a person.
So how do you use that in your life today? Because you mentioned about being an angel investor, and speak first about that, and then I want to hear a little bit about, for you as a woman entrepreneur, what that means.
So having, two strong parents growing up that just loved me unconditionally and were there for me through everything definitely made me who I am today, and a very caring person because they cared so much about me. So I always felt really loved. So I always wanted to just give as much love back as possible. And I love kids. So I grew up taking care of my cousins and nannying and babysitting. And one of the families that I babysat for, I loved them, and I babysat for the whole summer. And instead of getting paid or anything like that, what I did was, he was in the investing world and I was really young. I babysat because I liked hanging out with the kids, and I invest everything for the summer. He was in the stock market and everything like that. So when the kids would nap, I would read about all these different stocks and what to invest in. So I would save all the money that I made from modeling and babysitting and everything and invest it. And I started to do really, really well with my investments, and I wanted to give back. I wanted to start investing in companies that I believed in, that were making a difference. And so that's when I invested in my first major startup, which was a CBD company. And I invested in them because one of my really good friends was taking care of a handicapped child who would have anywhere from 12 to 18 seizures a day. And they had the top medical people in the entire world. He was on so many pills and medicine, and nothing could stop his seizures. And this kid he was so special. And he was 8 years old, and my friend was carrying him around in a backpack just so that he could be out and socialize with people. And so what happened was, this CBD company, his parents were just so desperate to try anything, and they started giving him the CBD oil, and his seizures stopped.
Wow.
And he finally got a quality of life that everyone deserves. So when my friend came to me and they were starting this company, I wanted to be part of it because I knew that it would be part of the future, and it would be something that could make a difference in a lot of people's lives. My cousin, he has hand tremors, and nothing could stop them for him. And so I was like, you have to try this CBD. And he tried it, and they stopped. So it makes such a big difference, and those were things that I wanted to be part of.
So were you involved beyond a financial investment capacity at that point?
Yeah, well, I was in with them when they were trying to figure out, marketing, where can we need to get this out? Because it is, people don't realize when you hear, especially when it's something new to the market and people don't know everything that you can do with it. And the quality that they were doing was just so high quality as opposed to, you know, different companies. And so that was really important for me to help get the message out there about this amazing company.
So that was your first success as an angel investor.
That was my first startup investment. Yes.
And speak to me a little bit about, as a woman entrepreneur, right?
Well, it's very interesting because for me, as like when I go to a meeting to invest in a company, it is usually 12 men sitting around me and they look at me like, oh, is she somebody's girlfriend or is she supposed to be here? And, you know, and I look at them and I stand and I hold my own and I'm just like, no, I'm here. I'm investing in the company as well, just like all of you guys. And I mean, I grew up.
What's their reaction?
Oh my God. I have walked into a room before. We have a lot of different businesses that we're involved in, and I walked into a company where this had to do with food. It was all the CEOs of like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Polar, all of them. I walked in, they were in the middle of a presentation. The whole room stopped, like dead silent, and then they started laughing. They're like, I think you're in the wrong place. And I'll never forget that story. It was in Boston, and I was like, no, I'm supposed to be here. I'm representing my company.
How did you, I mean, obviously it didn't faze you, right?
No.
Did you go through any twinge of discomfort, or what was your